Welcome! Adega Outlaw! Stone Cold Loki! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 7 Kinds of Mischief! Greetings, one and all, and welcome to 7 Kinds of Mischief. Good evening.
I don't know what it is you are on, but gosh, all this week and tonight, it just like that fire is the real thing, man. It's just burning off of you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's been great. It's been a great week. It absolutely has been a great week. Been a good last couple of weeks.
Fantastic.
Everybody, thank you so much for being here. We got Psychodorf 9 here. Greetings, Loki. Psychodorf 9! How are you doing, brother? Steven Ransom, good evening. How are you doing? Parrot Ed, what is up, my friend? Good evening. Welcome. Chris Persia, the Wrench of Wrenches, is here. The lovely and talented Guardian of the Void, Lady Mist. Good evening, Lady Mist. How are you doing? Ghost Rider is here. Good evening, Ghost Rider. Andrew 46 and 2. What is going on? He's throwing fireballs out, green fireballs out for 7 Kind of Mischief tonight. Dave G Sound, good evening. It is good to see you. Claude Sailing. Good evening, everyone. Decepticons, Cave of Villains. Good evening, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. Guys, it is going to be a good night. We've got a couple of good stories for you tonight. Dega's got some pictures. I got to get those loaded here in a minute.
Nah, it's not that important. It's just if you find it. Ghost Rider said something. If you think he's on fire, stay away from me, Adega. The problem is, Ghost Rider, I love fire.
He does. Adega put the fire and light the fires Valhalla.
There is a dragon named after me in Valhalla.
Yes, the Adegon dragon.
Yep. So fire has never scared me.
Oh, that's shit. Pat S. Good evening. He's got some good news. Pat S. with a $4.99 super chat, ladies and gentlemen, says, "Hail fam, hail Loki and fam. I'm out of the hospital and doing well. Still have tons of PT to do, but want to thank you all for being there and supporting me. Heart, y'all. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being here. I know what you've been going through. Pat S. has been in the hospital for a while. He's been working really, really hard. Congratulations.
Fantastic. If you need any advice or stuff, hit me up. Let me know. But good news. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
I hate hospitals.
I don't like being in hospitals either.
I can't imagine any. Well, sometimes the nursery is pretty cool. All the new babies. But other than that. Cool. It's a wonderful evening, everybody. I hope everyone's doing great. I don't have a whole lot tonight, except for some history. Once upon a time, those of you who have been around, I know Lady Miss, Psychodorf, Chris, the old timer suspects here in Valhalla will remember when we started off doing our evening shows, we talked about the pantheon and the Greek, some of the Roman gods, the whole thing. And I wanted to get into one that is probably least understood, but also the most prevalent. You guys will understand why when we get into it. I sent Loki some pictures, and they don't really matter that much, but not that one. Because you guys have, I think you guys have seen that one. There was not that one either, but we're closer. Not that one. Nope, definitely not that one. But we'll get to that one. It may have been the first one. It's the one with the fish guy.
Those are the 4 you sent me.
I didn't send you a fish, dude.
These are the 4 you sent me.
Flip. All right, maybe I just couldn't find it. Well, you can hang out with this one. In ancient times, we're talking 1000, 2000 BC, contemporaries of that's not Dagon. You're close. You're very close. Dagon is the fish dude, if that's what you meant. Awesome one. He says Adega, but Dagon is the one I want to talk about. You'll see in like ancient Mesopotamia, they have this guy who looks like he has a scale skirt, one hand above his head, similar to this, but the other hand usually is carrying a handbag. And that is in debate of, it's not quite Zoroastrianism, but it's close. It's related to it. But this Dagon, think of like their equivalent to Zeus. And this one went through the Philistines, the Canaanites, the Moabites, all of those ancient civilizations back there. They all held to this pantheon, just like if you were going to Greece or Rome back in the day. They all, or if you went to the Scandinavia, where it was all Zeus, or not Zeus, Thor and Odin and those types. This was theirs, except theirs was a little darker. Dagon wasn't such a bad dude as he was. Oh, there we go. They worshipped him as a god of the harvest, fishing, crops, those type of things. Kind of related. Chris says, isn't Dagon related to the mermaids? Kind of loosely, very, very loosely. Indirectly, there's other sources that are more closely related to it. Yeah, the Philistines were also part of this. But Dagon, again, he was the father, had kids, and their kids were much more nasty. Just to give you an idea of some of the more of the history, each individual town would have their own idol that represented the god of whatever that area. And that the ancient way that they wrote it would be, say, like if it was Hanan, we'll go with the ancient city Hanan, and if their god wasn't, their god was Baal. But if it was Dagon, there would be Dagon dash Hanel or Baal dash Hanel. In that's how they kept it. So if you see these names with a dash afterwards, it meant this is the one they found where. But most of the people decided to go closer to the dark side. This guy here is one very tame representation of Baal. And he's a pretty dark dude, along with his wife slash sister slash demon, Astaroth. We'll start with Astaroth. Astaroth originally was female, and these people really had a thing for sex above and beyond what was normal. And Astaroth was a demon that represented that and was married to this Baal and worshipped similar to like Athena, but in a much more perverted way. In modern times, she was changed to a he, and is seen, except for these, if you're going to look these up, just to give you a fair warning, if you want to look them up, more often than not, when you find pictures, and this is why I did have one of Dagon, but I thought I sent it to Loki, but I didn't. More often than not, you're going to find anime images, because a lot of these anime manga writers will pull names like Ishtar, which is related to Astaroth, kind of similar type things, but all these ancient names, and they just repeat them and use them in manga. So when you look her up, you're going to see a lot of anime. They tend to put wings on her, fangs, look kind of vampire-esque, very demonish. But in more modern times, they switched it to a male and would ride the hellhounds that they believed in. Baal is different. He is probably the single worst god in all of history that people worshipped as a god. They said, if you look in a lot of the ancient texts and in the Bible, that people would cause their children to pass through the fire. One of the rites, in order to, what they believed, to bless or to give them an advantage over others, was to be able to lose your ability to care and to sacrifice a child alive at the altars of this guy for centuries and centuries. The sad part about it is this guy's still around. You look it up. You want to find a place to go worship Baal, you'll find it. However, in ancient times, then this covers several different languages, especially the Hebrew language. Sacrifice, or to give up, or to pass through, was a phrase. It was a phrase called melk, M-L-K, velk, telk. Pronunciation actually came out because with the Hebrew, they didn't have the vowels at that time. They still don't really have it that much. Moloch. You guys know that name. You go to Oklahoma City Capitol, you will see a statue to Moloch. If you saw the great tunnel that they made just in Scandinavia, where all the world leaders, or at least the major ones from Europe, were there at the dedication of this new road tunnel, they had a Moloch, or some call him Baphomet nowadays, but it's the same character, where it has both male and female parts, dancing in front of a bunch of slaves. You want to find this guy, he's still around. Now, that one picture that Loki first popped up, we brought this up a while back. This now sits at the Colosseum in Rome, which is controlled by the Holy See, or the Catholic Church.
Vatican.
Yep. They sanctioned this character who has seen the sacrifice of more children than any other religion that we've ever known. Even more than the Aztecs. And there he is. And again, like I said, there are many places where you can find this worship nowadays. I won't get into details other than there's one more image. We skipped it real quick. And this was one that you also know about. Yeah, that's Ishtar or Astaroth. But go ahead. The last one, that one. This is an old picture of them in front of Baal or Moloch, or they all go by the same name. It's not quite Baphomet because it doesn't have the horns and the goat legs, but it's the same individual, where they're ferrying in the sacrifice. And there are claims that here in the Bohemian Grove, they actually have done and continue to do on occasion, putting people on fire. To eliminate someone's ability to care about anybody else, you become ruthless, power hungry, and selfish because you sacrifice that part of you that makes you human, all for your selfish wants. And yeah, it goes on today. I have seen and heard recordings of different things, but it's sick. And this is one of the things that's prevalent in pretty much if you think of an authority, whether it be in Hollywood or whether it be in the government, which you guys know I've mentioned many, many times. Some of the local churches, whether you consider them Christian or not, schools. I have deliberately avoided one story that came out of England about some children, just because it's absolutely horrific. It's all documented, and yet the people that perpetrated got away with it because the judges were all part of it as well. But this is still around you. After 4,000 years, people still do this. The point is, sometimes when you want to argue, debate, question the methodology, the reasons, the whys and the whos and the whats about things that people do that seem so wrong or questionable, about things they do with our community, our IP, our lore, our laws, all kinds of different things, you're arguing with people who literally do not care. So until you can get them in the heart to where they can feel again, it's not going to do you any good. That is our challenge. You find the good people, you build the community, and sometimes you get right type of time, right type of emotion. Some of these people actually do come around, but it's hard to do. We've talked about cults before, and this is the baddie. This is the big bad one, the one worse than all. This is where the mothers of darkness and all of them started off from. So sorry about the dog in the background, but I just wanted to give you a little history lesson. But that's it. These are what you're dealing with. People who literally don't care because they have the ability to watch and kill other humans and take joy in it. So when you hear of people destroying common sense, they really don't care. So hang on, keep up the good fight, stick together. That's it.
Asaj Melody says the first opera was about a character named Orfeo who loses his wife to snakebite. Persephone talks Hades into letting him take his wife back. No spoilers, but it doesn't have a happy ending.
We didn't cover that story, did we?
No, we didn't. I don't think we really covered Hades that much. We did
we flashed over him and Persephone, just to, what their titles were, but we didn't really get into that story. Thanks, Massage.
We're gonna have to do that one night. We're gonna have to go OG and talk about the Olympians again.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
You gotta answer this because I don't know how Phil keeps ending up back here. I really don't. He keeps just appearing. YouTube just keeps putting him in chat. He has no idea how he gets here.
It's my fault, Phil. I keep dragging you in. There's a hidden program in your computer, and I pay good money to make sure you keep ending up here. It's going to keep happening too. And just don't look out your window facing east at exactly 12:02 at night. You don't want to do that. But expect to see you again here and again and again and again.
Psychodorf 9 says the only truth is power.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's kind of close to how they feel about things, yeah. But it's all about themselves. They don't care about anybody else.
Diverty Diversity and inclusiveness. Diversity and inclusiveness. He's a victim. Bill McCracken.
You know who's another victim is someone who is close to a previous president who decided to have a suicide by rope and shotgun. That just happened.
Oh, yes, it did. Isn't that amazing? You never thought you'd see one of those in your lifetime, did you?
Right.
I know, not you, Psychodorf. I know.
All right. Let's hear something from Staniforth.
All right, guys, tonight's story is called The Day. Oh my God, the day Mark met death. This is by R.M. Staniforth. It's another one of the stories. He actually posted this 15 days ago. Mark knew he was dying weeks before the doctor told him, for Mark had seen death. The first time Mark saw death was deep in the night. He had awoken and rushed to the toilet to vomit and found himself unable to fall back to sleep through the pain. This was normal for Mark, given the advanced state of his illness, so he already had a routine for such events. He brewed himself some tea, chamomile, and lavender, which was sometimes the only thing he could keep down, and sat down in front of his large bay windows to gaze upon the tree line of the forest at the edge of his property. Mark loved the woods. When he was healthy, he spent a lot of time in those woods. There was a small lake, only a 20-minute walk through the woods that he used to fish at. When his boys were younger, he used to take them back to the lake. His oldest son once caught a 7-pounder in that pond. The boys had even built a crude tree house they used to play in. Mark hoped he could find the energy to visit that lake again. Mark started to relax, thinking optimistically about how he could fix things. He'd get healthy and repair the damages. Maybe they could all go fishing again. Maybe. His eyes grew heavy, and just as he was about to doze off, movement caught his eye. Mark searched for the animals that caused the distraction, expecting a deer or a rabbit. What he saw was no animal. In front of the tree line stood a tall, hooded figure, endowed in a long black robe that flowed slightly with the wind. Mark guessed that it stood 8, maybe 9 feet. It took one large step out from the tree line and stood in full display of the moonlight. In one long, gray, nearly transparent hand, the figure held a tall and menacing scythe that glinted in the waxing moon. The figure turned its head directly towards Mark. Wonder turned to terror as Mark felt as though he had been caught spying on something he shouldn't have ever seen. But his fear held him to the chair with his invisible restraints. Though Mark could see no face through the dark void of that hood, he knew the figure was staring at him, fully aware of Mark's presence. Mark found the strength to shift in his chair, telling himself that this must be a dream. But then his tea spilled. He jumped from his chair at the sudden intense burn on his thigh. The jolt shook more hot tea from the mug, which further burned his hand. After the pain relented, his eyes returned to where the figure had been standing, but he saw only trees. Mark sat back down, shaking and breathing hard in his easily exhausted state. He was not sure how exactly he knew, but he did know without a single doubt that he had just seen death in its own form, and that what he had seen was neither a dream nor an illusion. Mark understood he would soon die. The next day is when Mark sent the text message. He had tried unsuccessfully to reconnect before, but now that he understood his imminent death, he would plead for forgiveness. Mark pleaded and begged, not for forgiveness, but for one last opportunity to see his children. Please, I am dying. The reply was one word: good. Mark knew that he had only himself to blame. After all, how could he expect any sort of forgiveness from anyone when he was unable to forgive himself? The illness, the pain, death leering from his window, Mark believed to be a retribution for his sins. Weeks later, when Dr. Z explained to Mark with no false optimism Mark's new reality, he had already seen death 5 more times. Death watched again from the woods, then just outside the window the previous night. Death stood in his home, watching from just outside his bedroom door. Dr. Z said he had weeks to months to live, but Mark knew it was mere weeks, not months. For death appeared closer every time. Mark had already been in the hospital for 3 days, 3 days in which he regularly saw death in the shadows of his room. Please, Anne, please allow me to apologize to my kids before I die, he had messaged. He received no reply. Instead, he wrote a letter to be delivered alongside the will, leaving everything to his children. When his time came, Mark lay weak but ready to face the retribution of his actions. Unable to mend the relationships he had tarnished, he had only a nurse to accompany him. She held Mark's left hand as finally the hooded figure appeared in the room more vivid than ever before. Mark squeezed the nurse's hand, knowing his last breath was imminent. Death took a step closer, followed by another. But with each step, something about death changed. The cloak faded to a soft brown. The scythe shifted to a shepherd's staff. Death pulled back the hood with one last step as her true form was revealed. Long brown hair fell around her shoulders as her brilliant eyes projected light upon him. Mark was struck by her impossible beauty, the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Although her face appeared young, her kind, smiling face displayed wisdom beyond what could be found on earth. In her presence, Mark no longer felt fear. A warm, blissful peace washed over him as death, in her beauty and glory, radiated her light down onto him. Mark now knew in his heart that those he had hurt would find it within themselves to forgive him. And he forgave those who had hurt him. Most importantly, Mark found the strength to forgive himself. Death reached out a loving hand, as if welcoming home a long-lost son she had not seen in years. And Mark took her hand. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the day Mark met death.
That is really different for him.
That is very different.
Wow. Instead of turning more macabre, it went to the nice side. Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
Usually we're dealing with horror and murderers and all kinds of nasty monsters, wendigos and
right.
Evil patches of earth that steal your soul.
Or are still waiting for the end of that secret society one where our guy gets abducted into the
Journal of a Psychopath.
Yeah, that too.
It's not over yet.
Well, it was nice to have a good one for once, instead of having this dark image that's on the screen the whole time.
Yes.
All right. What's up for tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning, we're going to be looking at the Orville, and Friday night, we are going to have a little bit of a party. We have passed 1,800 subscribers.
Yes.
So tomorrow night, we're going to have a little bit of it. We're going to have the Friday night hangout like we always do. Hopefully, Tom and Snowdub, Culture Casino, everybody that's normally there, Mexican Iron Man. Hopefully everybody's there. But we're going to have a little party. We're going to have a little celebration. I wasn't sure whether I was going to do something like this before we hit 2K, but we hit 1,800 in just at a month. I think that's something to pat ourselves on the back for.
Yeah.
We were stuck at between 15 and 16 for months. So I'm really excited that we got to 1,800 in just under a month. That's absolutely fantastic for me. Some people get excited when they get 10,000 subs or something. I get excited when we add another 100 people to the community. That's just great for me.
No, awesome. Tomorrow's going to be a good day.
And Chris Persia says, party. Do you want to party?
Oh, heck yeah.
So
I like your Friday shows. Those are cool. I
should
like it
be
when
fun.
Tron comes on too. It was funny to watch Casino the first time. Whoa, what's that? Tom, both jumping. Silence, users. Tron is about to speak.
That's right. And then it's something you never expected. You all are fucking crazy. And
Yep.
you're like, whoa.
All right.
But yeah, guys, we'll be live tomorrow morning with our Orville review. We'll have Clobber in time. Hopefully Speaker for the Dead will be back. The Rooster Dave Bob, everybody loves Dave Bob, and Arwen Avalon, the lady Arwen Avalon should be there. So guys, until then, be great, be excellent to each other, always speak friend to enter, and me and Adega will see you guys in 1 week on the next 7 Kinds of Mischief. Oh no, wait, hold on.
Did I miss something?
I may very well be in Dallas next Thursday. That's not 100%. That's like a maybe. I can't stay overnight. So if we drive down, we may drive down, crash the FNT meetup. I have a ticket, so I won't really be crashing it. But
Darn it.
darn it. And hang out with those guys and then drive back that night. So
If you do, you can always do a best of.
that's right. So guys, but until then, take care. Be excellent to each other. Always speak friend to enter. Me and Adega will see you on the next 7 Kinds of Mischief. Have a great night, everybody.
Have a good one.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.
Thank you, Chris.